If I was a cynic, I'd question the member's motivation for introducing this bill, which is aimed to help the forest industry, when not too long ago he suggested that people in the forest industry need to just basically deal with it and move to Alberta like everybody else. But, I'm not that much of a cynic, so needless to say, those comments didn't go over too well in Northwestern Ontario. And, I am trying very hard to do my best.
Order.
All parties.
Order. The member from Thunder Bay Ottawa, come to order, please.
I'm doing my very best to work with all parties and all members to achieve positive results for my riding. I'll tell you, but it's comments like those, like the comments that were made not too long ago by the member opposite, that make it very difficult. And again, I do question his motivations when he makes those comments. So, as a proud Northerner, I firmly believe that we need to work together to move the region forward. And it's for that reason that I'm proud to offer my support for this bill, and I certainly hope that my Northern colleagues will join me in supporting our region's tourist information centres and making sure that they remain open. As we know, there are four main industries in my region. There's forestry, which has been on the downswing, tourism, mining, which we're hoping will grow, and spin-off industry that's created from the combination of these three. Of course, as little as 10 years ago, one could make the argument that forestry was the primary driver of our northern economy. But that simply isn't the case anymore, although we do remain hopeful that the forest industry will rebound and we can return to our past economic prosperity. The first thing that I want to address with this bill is the fact that this bill is very similar to the bill that was introduced previously by the member of Nipissing. But I'm not going to get bogged down in a chicken and egg discussion about whose bill came first. The point is that we're getting support from all sides of the House, and like my colleague from Nipissing did say, seems that everybody is speaking in favour. So I'm hoping that when these two bills go forward to committee, that we're able to come up with something that really combines the best of both. As somebody who did work in a sawmill myself to help put myself through school, I know the importance of the forest industry. And it's a shame that the mill that I worked in to put myself through school is no longer open, so that other students are no longer able to find that good paying job and put themselves through. And I do think I would like to take a few minutes to point out some of the shortcomings of this bill. The most obvious is the omission of the word Ontario in front of wood. Aside from the title of the bill, which is Ontario's Wood First Act, there is nothing in the bill that actually requires that Ontario wood be used in any of the structures that it talks about. So there's no guarantee that having this requirement will actually benefit our forest industry in Northern Ontario. During the election, my party proposed a very strong Buy Ontario policy for government operations, a policy that makes a lot of sense. Ontario taxpayer dollars should be used where possible to encourage Ontario industry. Food purchased by the Ontario government for government functions should be Ontario food. Wood used for building should be Ontario wood. Vehicles purchased by the government should be vehicles made in Ontario. We ask our constituents to shop local, and I firmly believe that we as politicians and as a government should lead by example. We as legislators need to be active participants, and again, we need to lead by example. If there's one thing I'm proud of from my election campaign, it's that all of my materials were produced in my riding. The signs, the bumper stickers, the magnets, the flyers, all produced there. And it turned some heads because it opened up some markets to some of the very good quality materials that are produced in Northwestern Ontario. And it allowed those products to be showcased. And it's my hope that we can do the same thing with the wood that's produced in our province. And that brings me to another suggestion that I'd like to make, that requiring wood to be the primary construction material is a good start, but I think that we could go one step further and make it just a little bit better by encouraging that all secondary and additional materials, where available, come from Ontario as well. For example, granite. We have some thriving granite operations in our province, and it's my understanding that granite from my riding was used to help build the Presidential Library in the United States. So I don't see any reason why we wouldn't be able to use these products in our own facilities as well. As I've said, I do like the Buy Ontario spirit of this bill, that it seems to be championing, at least in the title, but I do find it troubling that there isn't anything further that would require Ontario wood to be used. And let's face it, the single biggest thing that a wood procurement policy could do would be a Buy Ontario wood policy. But this bill doesn't include that. It doesn't go that far. In order to help the industry, we have to make many changes provincially, including changes to the province's Wood Tenure Act and allowing communities and not companies to have control of their wood supply. This would ensure that our resources are used to create jobs rather than have resources exported to other regions. This bill is a good first step, and I hope my colleague from Thunder Bay Atikokan and all my northern colleagues will work together to make positive changes that will allow us to move forward. I thank the member from Thunder Bay Atikokan and the member from Nipissing for bringing both of these bills forward, and I hope that they both receive speedy passage so that we can start rebuilding our once prosperous forest industry. Thank you.